Hey everybody. On today's episode, we're going to do Revithia, or a Greek-style chickpea stew. A friend of mine wanted something Mediterranean, wanted high in protein, lots of fiber, and this one's got a nice lemony taste to it. Very good for cold weather like it is outside. We're in the fall. Let's check it out. Let's go. And on today's episode, we're going to do Revithia, or chickpea stew. So here I have 200 grams of chickpeas that I've soaked overnight. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drain them off, and then we're going to rinse them under cold water, just like this. Next, we're going to place them inside of a pressure cooker, just like this. And we're going to add some dried oregano and some dried savory. Now when you do this, inside of a pressure cooker, the flavors get impregnated into the chickpeas. So try it out. You might enjoy it. This is a very effective method of increasing flavor whenever you're using a pressure cooker. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cover our chickpeas with about 1 inch of water. Now do not add salt until the very end of this dish. If you do, everything gets tough and it's not a good end product. So we cook our chickpeas for 3 to 5 minutes, and in the meantime, we're going to wash off 2 carrots, just like this. And we're also going to wash off a big stalk of celery, around this big. We're also going to use frozen onion paste, but if you don't have it, chop up 1 onion, about this big. Now, insofar as the size of our chop, you want it about the same size as your chickpeas. This ensures that everything cooks at the same rate. So if the carrots and celery are the same size as the chickpea, they should cook the same time. Now, Revithia is a stew, and you want good mouthfeel or texture. And this is another reason why we cut things larger. Now, whenever you make a soup or a stew, you use a mirepoix, or carrots, onions, and celery in proportion to one another. Always remember that. Anyhow, we're going to zest and juice 2 lemons for this particular dish. So first, we're going to zest the lemons. I run it across the microplane rasp here, and you get this nice lemon zest. It infuses a nice lemony flavor to your stew. Then, I cut the lemons in half, and I'm going to juice them up. Now here we have some fresh parsley that we're going to use for our stew. So that cut some up. We're going to use that. Now here we have tiny little fronds of dill. Very good for you, even in cold weather. It's probably the last crop, but that's what we're going to use. So here's our little harvest of dill and parsley. Well, the garden's going to fallow. We got something to eat. Okay, so we're going to start cooking our stew now. So we're going to heat 60 mils of extra virgin olive oil in a nice pan just like this. It's an essential of Mediterranean cuisine, and it always tastes good. Next, we're going to add our mirepoix, all those vegetables that we chopped up in equal proportion to one another. And this is the foundation for our stew. Now once this has started to cook out, we're going to drain off our cooked chickpeas that look like this. Stir up our mirepoix, make sure everything gets a bit of caramelization, and then we add our chickpeas. Then from that point on, we start stirring some more, making sure all the olive oil and all the flavors have covered each other. And then we're going to add our lemon zest. Add that extra citrusy flavor to our stew. Then we add 750 to a liter of vegetable stock to our dish. Make sure you cover it up just to the limit, just to cover it. Now we increase the heat and we bring it up to a low boil. And while this is going on, we're going to juice our lemons and we're going to chop up our herbs. It's always good practice to add your herbs at the very end to ensure that you get a good fresh flavor. So here I'm chopping up my parsley and dill that we just picked in a rather coarse manner. And now what we do is we add our lemon juice to the stew on the low boil, and we also add those freshly chopped herbs. Turn the heat down. And what we're going to do is coarsely blend the stew, and this is exactly the point when you add your salt. Seasoning at the end. The result is a lemony, thick, lovely textured stew. You can serve it with a couple of pieces of bread. This has enough protein and fiber to get you on with your day. Comfort food at its best, Mediterranean simplicity. Enjoy your week, everybody.